Hi, Tori. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Liseko?
I'm good. I'm happy to be in Money Smart Week and talking finances with Tori. So let's talk finances with Tori.
Yes, yes, you can say that again. So I was just thinking, okay, this the theme for this year is smart money, financial foundations for a resilient future. So with me, like what I always want to teach people is that not to really to teach people, but to remind people that we need to lay foundations with our money. Because the moment when you don't lay a foundation with your money, what is your future self going to be doing? So that's what List of Finances basically does. Like I just remind people that your money matters and you must be in charge of it. So, in minding your money, that's when you're able to lay those foundations, which the theme for this is basically focusing on.
I love that, Tori. I've spoken a lot about the Ombud Council financial redress, where we say, this is not right. Please help
Mm,
me fix it. And what does fixing it mean? As we've mentioned, it's either you get your money back, you get your problem fixed, or you get an apology. But this
yes.
is about then also that this type of money that we are talking about with your banks, your insurance, your credit providers, your brokers, and all these areas where then your teachings would then tell people where to go. So, Tari, can you tell me more about financial foundations for a resilient future and things that we need to have as a people to make sure we make better financial decisions?
Yes, so for me, like first and foremost, I always say, like as Africans, we have mastered the art of earning. Everyone can work and earn something, but what we do with that money we earn, that's a different question to be asking. So that's what I always focus on. Okay, the moment when you earn your money, you need to understand where your money is going, which is basically budgeting. Give your money direction. Talk to your money, because many people we don't talk to our money. Hey, I always say like people were very toxic. Hey, when we are talking about GBV, I think we should have a term of GBV with money, you know. So yes, most people we don't have that relationship of understanding, okay, I've earned my money, so I need to sit down and give direction to my money. I need to budget and tell my money where is it needs to be going. But the moment when you don't do that, that's why I think it was it last year or the year before last year when they did a survey that many South Africans by the fifth of the month their accounts are already on zero or in negative. Because many people, when money comes in, debit orders sit through their accounts and all that, but they don't really sit down to understand where the money is going. Like they don't get time to educate themselves. Okay, like if I'm earning this much money, maybe I need to be staying at a place where I'm able to pay this much rental, or I need to be driving the car, which costs me this much. Many people who don't really sit down to understand, okay, this lifestyle I'm living, is it the lifestyle which is according to what I'm actually earning, right? So basically, we talk about budgeting, which I've been explaining now. We talk about saving, like you need to learn to save your money because if you don't save your money, who is going to help you tomorrow? We don't know about that. So I always say, like, save the cents and the dollars will save themselves. If you learn that habit, well, that's a habit you need to just learn. Like you need to teach yourself, like, okay, if I'm earning 100 rand, okay, let me save 2 rand. It doesn't have to be a lot of money. I'm not saying save all your 100 rand. Just learn to say, okay, from this 100 rand, maybe let me take 5% or 2% to put aside. Right? Just master that art. Then it will be easier when you get more money. With the saving, that's why I also bring in, like, I don't know if you've ever watched I Blow It All. Yes,
I
those
have
people
watched
they
that show, yes.
yes, those people they get millions of money, and you ask me like after 6 months someone is so broke. What happened there? It's because they haven't mastered the art of saving. So the moment when you don't master the art of saving, even if you're going to have a million today, you're going to waste it because you don't know how to take care of your money. So saving is just an art. Start with 2 rand, start with 10 rand. When you master that 10 rand, upgrade yourself, go to 20 rand. And the moment when you get more money, it will be actually easier to save more money on that. Then we also talk about investing. Investing, basically, I always say it's growing your money. You're learning to grow your money because whatever income you are having, take it as a seed. when you have a seed, what do you do with your seed? You plant it, you nurture it. It's going to take time for it to grow. So basically, that's investing is all about. You learn you learn to leave your money there and just make it do its magic. Well, wherever it is, you have planted it. So you can do it in different ways. Is that you can start buying shares, you can invest in properties, you can invest in a business, but the whole idea is to make your money grow, and it can help you in your future. Remember, the thing for this is that we want to build that resilient future. So basically, in building that resilient future, you need to start investing. Make your money grow, make your money work for you, so that at least, I always say, especially in our African communities where black tax is it's a thing. Instead of us saying, okay,
Absolutely.
yes, instead of me saying, okay, my kids will take care of me, why can't I say, okay, from whatever I'm getting now, let me also put something for my future? Because I always say, okay, we need to treat your future self as your present self, because it's also important. Then lastly, what I teach is on debt management. I always say, like, the way debt is so advertised, it feels like it's very free. Like, I give you a loan, tomorrow you give me back, and there's nothing to it. But I always say, like, debt is so expensive. So you need to understand what is debt. And do you really need to go and take that loan, or is something you can actually delay and start saving for, and you can go and buy cash? But because we feel like, okay, if I'm able to pay the monthly installments, I can afford it. But it doesn't mean if you're able to make monthly installments, you can afford it. So I always say people,
Mm-mm.
like, there are two types of debt: good debt and bad debt. So understand what is it that you want to do. So I always say, let's try to avoid bad debt by all means. So when I'm talking about bad debt, this is what I'm talking about. Okay. If I'm taking a credit card just to go and spoil myself in restaurants, because I feel like, you know what, you only live once. But taking a credit card to go and eat, like, if you assess yourself, does it really make any financial sense at the end of the day? It doesn't. So for me, that's a type of a bad debt. Like, if you want to go out, which I always advise people to do, you need to treat yourself. We are working so hard for your money, but do it do it in a manner that it won't affect your credit score. It won't affect also your mental health. It won't affect also your money. Save for it. Okay, maybe on my birthday, I want to treat myself. Save for that money, and you go and treat yourself with your own money, not with money you are owing. Because the moment when you would like use your credit card to go out for dinner, when you're paying back that money, you're going to pay it back with interest. And most of our credit cards is like 19%, 20% interest rate for just eating
Mm.
out. Like, is it worth
Yes.
it? Yeah, is it
Mm.
worth it? It's not, right? And also, there's also bank charges for borrowing, right? So, and then, so these types of bad debt. So you need to understand, okay, when I'm borrowing money, whatever I'm borrowing for, is it going to appreciate my money, or it's going to depreciate my money? If the answer is going to depreciate your money, please don't use don't use credit on it. Rather, save for it or wait until when you can afford it and go for it, right? And then with good date, this is when we're like, okay, maybe I'm eyeing for that promotion at work, and if I go back to school, I can be able to get that promotion. You see, now you're increasing your future value of your either your salary or your earnings. So that's good debt because you're investing for your future. Or maybe you say, okay, you know what, I need to get a property. Then in that property, maybe I can put some tenants and they can help me to pay back my bond. That's a good debt because it's going to appreciate in value, right? Or maybe you say,
Yes.
okay, yes. So there are different types of good debts and bad debts. So you just need to assess yourself, and you need to understand the debt you are taking, and is it good for you to take that credit? Because we are talking about smart money, and we need to lay financial foundations for a resilient future.
Sorry, you've spoken quite a lot about these financial foundations. And what I've picked up is that you were telling us about, which what I really enjoyed is the saying that start with the cents and the dollars, but the rands in our South African way will sort out themselves. And
Yes.
and talking about you only live now and good debts and bad debts, you have a book that teaches young people about financial literacy. And look, I'm going to read it as well because I wasn't got given the opportunity to learn these when I was younger. And you are
Mm,
talking here about understanding money values and beliefs.
mm,
So when we talk about this, people say that they don't have enough to save, they're already in debt,
Mm,
as well as that they feel so much pressure that they
mm,
want to then enjoy their monies right now. So
mm,
they feel like, having this debt for them is offering them mental health relief,
mm.
perhaps. What does your teachings and your books and talking about financial literacy, what is the outlook we should have around those things?
You see what you've said, it's fair enough. We are working so hard and we deserve to be to be treating ourselves like it's really a fair question. But what I always say, like, you need to do it in moderation, because you can't be saying your way to treating yourself is leading you to debt. It doesn't work that way, because at the end of the day, you are going to increase your mental health issues as well. Because okay, you take that nice holiday to whatever five-star hotel, whatever you want to go to, but when you come back, you're going to face your reality, because your reality is not going to run away just because you're treating yourself, right? So basically, what I've written in my first book, What School Never Taught My Daughter, it's basically like, okay, you need to just understand your values and your beliefs. But some values and beliefs we are living now, they are not really ours. Maybe it's because of the society we grew in and all that. And the picture which people mainly want to put is that, okay, I'm rich. I'm able to do this and all that, but deep down people know that they are not, they can't really afford the lifestyles they are living and all that. So in that chapter, basically, I was just talking about that you need to understand the values and beliefs you have now. Are they really yours, or you just inherited them? So if you inherited them, it's time to unlearn them. But some of them, because people will believe that, okay, maybe if I dress certain way or if I buy clothes in a certain shop, people will perceive me as this way. But can I really afford to look? Can I really afford the look I want people to look to see me? And at the end of the day, what I always ask people, like, does it matter? Like, if I buy clothes,
Mm,
maybe if I buy
mm,
secondhand clothes, does it matter? Because that's what I can afford now. So I always say, like, what I always like, what I wanted to try to bring in that chapter is that, some things we believe, or some values we believe, they are not really ours, and it's high time we have to unlearn them. Because I believe that in each and every person, we all live in different seasons. Like myself, I can be in a season of planting, but you, Lesego, you might be in a season of harvesting. So if you're in a season of harvesting, you can afford to treat yourself, because you've harvesting what you've planted, right? But if I'm in
mm.
the season of planting, I need to make sure that to know that, okay, this season I'm in is just to plant. I need to be making my money to grow for me. I need to be saving and all that. But the time for me to harvest, it's going to come. But what I always say, like, these days with social media as well, it just makes our lives a kind of bit difficult, because the moment when I can afford to go to treat myself, the first thing I do is I go and post on Instagram, hashtag best life. But you don't know, like, how many years did it take me to save for that money? Because
Yes, yes.
I don't write about that,
Mm,
right?
mm,
So I think it goes back to just you need to understand the season you are in as a person. Just understand your own season, and it doesn't matter like what the other person is doing, because you don't know the season they are in, or how long it took them to save for that money, or maybe how many streams of income they might even have. Like Lesego, I might be only relying on a salary, but you might be okay having a salary, also having a business you do on the side. But I don't know about that when you're posting, right? Do I know about that? I don't. So I think people, let's learn to mind our own business, because this is your money and it matters, right? And also you need also to just understand that, okay, this is their own lane. Me, I'm focusing on my own lane. But it's kind of difficult for us, because we kind of live for people. So that's why I always say, like, that's the difficult part. If you don't understand yourself as a person, you want to live other people's lives.
So Tari, in the looking at those beliefs and such, and I think when we are looking at a resilient future, we are thinking those foundations and understanding that when you're saving, when you're budgeting, and you have goals in mind, you can have those goals to say, I want a certain type of life, and this is the journey I'm taking. Can you bring us more into then what does budgeting, saving, investment do for us? And what comes to mind as well is that when you have being unfairly treated through these tools, you can be empowered to complain because you still have to pay and service certain financial debts, despite the fact that you have a dispute. You can't
Yes.
stop paying. So this will then assist you as well because you have certain tools in place. Please tell us more about that.
Yes, yes. So basically, if you just understand your financial foundation that okay, in as much I'm earning this much money, this is the money, okay, which needs maybe to be taken care of mine now, and this is the money which needs to be taken care of my future. Then that way, at least you know, okay. So so when you understand, okay, I need to budget, and I can put in the 50-30-20 rule. I don't know if you know about it, where it
Yeah.
actually says, oh, where it says, okay, 50% of your income need to cover for your basic needs. So now you need to go back to ask yourself, okay, what are my needs? What are my wants? So a need is something you can actually can't live without. Like you can't live without a shelter, you can't live without food and all that. But now when we are talking about wants, this is okay. When you say, okay, now we are asking back to the question of the shelter. I can live maybe in a one bed apartment because that's what I can afford now, or maybe I can go and live in a in those apartments which are more expensive, but now that's a want because you can now assess okay what goes in. So with your 50% it needs to cover basically your all your needs on the 50%. Then your 30% it needs to go to your savings, like you need to start saving, your investing and all that for your future, right? Then 20% if you're in debt it needs to service your debt, but now depending with how much debt you have and all that you can swap around your 30-20. You can swap it around. If you are highly indebted, start with 30%, then 20% to your saving, so that at least you also don't affect your credit scoring. So with that as well, when you're also like looking into investing and all that now, because now we understand that okay, there's Ombud's Council and all that. We also know that we will also have rights and all that. Now you can actually look at the right financial institutions to put your money to, because we are working so hard for this money. So you need to research and see like the financial institution you're using, is it really registered or it's a fly by night? Right. So we
Mm.
need to just link it back and understand. And I always say people, we don't really love reading, but it's good to read. Go to those websites, see what is which institutions are registered, go to their reviews, see like, okay, if people are putting their pension funds in there, are people getting paid back or not? Or if maybe whatever financial products you want to take, go and understand, read the reviews, understand, okay, if they're bad reviews, just ask questions like, okay, why are they having bad reviews and all that? If they have good reviews, then that's good. Go push your money in there, but put your money to somewhere where you understand. Even when you're explaining to a grade one, you're able to explain that, you know what, I've invested in this financial product. This is what's going to happen in the next 5 years. I'll be earning this much. In 10 years, I'll be earning this much and all that. So put your money where you can understand. Because if you don't understand, then it's going to be difficult when you want to raise your complaints, because now you also don't understand what you signed for. So I always like, please educate yourself, understand, because guys, we are working so hard for this money, right? So you need to be just understand where exactly what where you're putting your money. With me, I'm that person, like even when I'm buying something, I just read, I understand, okay, what is it? Either it's food or it's something I want to dress or whatever, but I just want to understand where I'm putting my money. Is it worth my work
Mm.
as well?
Mm. Mm.
Mm.
Mm. As you're talking about these foundations, I'm also reminded that also another way of ensuring that you have a resilient future is through our elderly time, right?
Yes.
So investing in those areas, and you're teaching around budgeting and saving, as well as investing, speak to that. And then you're also given an option of having your pension funds if you're working, being going somewhere. And this is when you then also need to read, as you've just mentioned, you need to
Mm.
read the statements. You need to know how much you're putting in there. Does your statement reflect the total amount of all your monies that you have been putting in? And this also
Mm.
gives you a leg to stand on when you feel unfairly treated, because you can say, oh no, these people are not treating me right. I
Mm.
have been putting my money, it's not tallying up. It's definitely important for us to have financial literacy and be interested in knowing what's going on with our finances to equip us for a resilient future.
True.
Tari, when we talk about such as well, how then do we reshape our money memory lane? in order for us to have a good relationship with money and not feel fearful to
Mm,
either complain because maybe we were not reading something.
mm,
You can complain either way. Somebody will just explain to you, oh no, you're wrong, you're right, right? Just
mm.
say you feel unfairly treated. You can complain to that financial institution. But then how then do we reframe our money memory lane?
So as I explained on the values, that sometimes we live the values which are not ours. And also you said sometimes we are also in this fear that, okay, like before this week of Money Smart Week, I didn't know that we have a right to complain if you are
Yeah.
mistreated or if you feel you are treated unfairly. So I think also like the thing, like we need to learn, we need to open our minds to learn and relearn. Okay, we have got the things we have learned or the beliefs I have been believing, but now it's time to unlearn them and relearn new beliefs. So the moment you relearn and open yourself to understand what's really happening in the world, or understand or open yourself to educate yourself, you know more things, and that's how you can start reshaping your money memory lane. So with me, with reshaping your money memory lane, I always say like, okay, the moment you understand your own values, to say these are my own values as Tari, as a person, now I need to reshape my reframing. Okay, because what I've been knowing maybe for the past 30 years, it's not correct or it's not factual, but now I can start building my own story, my own money story, to say, okay, this is the relationship I want to build with my money story. And also now, because also I also have knowledge, now I also know that it's actually allowed, like if I have my financial hygiene in order, I'm actually allowed to say, you know what, this financial institution, or I bought this financial product thinking it was going to give me this, but it's not giving me this. Now this is how you reframe. So it goes back to awareness, knowledgeable, and educating yourself.
Mm. I love that, Tori. The way you have framed it. In the society we live and learning better financial foundations, or really just learning how to apply these financial foundations, we often find that we need money. As I've just mentioned to you, that most people do not trust the financial system. Perhaps it's because they are not. Um, Feeling that there is an institution that can help them with complaining, like the NFO, the phase ombud, and also the
Mm,
OPFA. Fortunately, they're there, and the Ombud Council is there to oversee that people are definitely treated fairly and that these institutions are functioning independently as such. So that means people can have confidence to
mm,
put their monies in financial institutions, knowing that they will not be unfairly treated or it will not be left alone when they do so. And
yes.
so people feel that they need money, they need capital to do all of these things with saving and budgeting. And they fear that perhaps if they equip themselves with these tools, that they will not be free. As you've mentioned, the structure, you've mentioned 50, 30, 20, it doesn't seem there is room, perhaps even a 2% or 5% of some kind of enjoyment, some kind of leisure within
Mm,
the structure. It seems like you're going. And I think this is how people are fatigued as well. So, how
mm,
then, excuse me, can one have capital? And capital is, for those that may not know, that money, that startup, that helps you
yes.
start up perhaps a business and such. How does one can go about that if they're not earning anything?
Mm. Okay, so remember when I said my 50, 30, 20, they like maybe let's say your bracket of 20% is your saving. Let's start from there. Like, okay, your savings you can save on different things. So on your 20%, you can break it down. Like say, okay, maybe my 10%, maybe I want to save for my emergency fund, right? I always say your emergency fund is your do it yourself savings kind of, or do it yourself insurance kind of, if I can put it that way, right?
Yeah.
So you're just saying, okay, we don't know what tomorrow may be. Maybe I might break my leg or something. If I don't have a medical aid, at least I can go to my emergency fund and get some money to go to see a doctor, right? Then we are breaking that 20% of your saving, right? Then maybe you can say, okay, 5% it's for your fund. With me, I've got a fund because I'm working so hard. So maybe you say 5% is for your fund. We remember we're talking about those treats, right? Then maybe you
Yes.
say 5%, maybe it's for your investing, right? It's for your future
Mm.
now. Yeah. building for your future. So you can actually break it down. And then to come back to your question where you're saying, okay, maybe someone, maybe they are not earning, because we can't assume everyone is working. If you're not earning anything, right, maybe you are skilled in something. I believe we all have talents. You
Yes.
may be skilled in something, right? Like find how you can make money from your skill, either using your hands, if you're good at writing, if you're good at singing. I see people they're making money even on TikTok, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just find ways of how you can have some channels of money flowing in. So with raising that startup, like you don't really need to like to like to have like millions of money for you to start a TikTok page, right? So long if you have a smartphone, your data of many people, I believe they have that. If you have that, you have somewhere to start from. Start singing there. Maybe someone might notice you and they might take you to their recording company and you can sign up that deal, right? So start up somewhere. If you're good at writing, just write something and start your blog. It just needs your phone and your data. So start with what you have. I always say, like, just start. Don't overthink through things. Don't overthink that, okay, I need to have that business plan and all that. And we also know like there are many companies who also offer funding. Go out there, research what is needed and all that, and just be prepared for it. But I always say opportunity meets preparedness. So the moment when you're not prepared
Absolutely.
for it, you won't get it. So be prepared that maybe someone can just notice me on my TikTok page doing what I'm doing, and you don't know what that can open for you.
So, Tori, I really love this. This seems that we need to have a mindset of learning, a mindset of reaching, a mindset of having goals and being
Mm,
empowered. If we know that, through this, I can perhaps make X amount of money because I want to fund XYZ. And I hear you say that we need to talk to our money. And
mm,
I would also say we need to talk to our lifestyle. If you
yes.
don't have an earning and no money to talk to, you can talk to your lifestyle, and therefore, is this what this capital would then be used for? To say, I actually need X amount. It helps you have those targets in
Mm,
place because you know that how much is it that you actually need um, to cater for the lifestyle that you want. And therefore, you can start seeing what is feasible out there for you. And I love when you say start small, start where you
mm,
are, start with the cents, and the rands will fix themselves.
yes. Mm,
Can you tell us more, Tori, about, you know, overall, if we're looking
mm.
at these four disciplines, budgeting, saving, investing, can you please help me with the last one?
Debt management.
Debt management. If we look at
Mm,
all of these four disciplines, um, how can a person go about them without being fearful? You don't know where to start.
mm.
You don't have data to research this information, or it's just an information overload. One says this way, one says that way, and others are very in depth. What are the basics of these four disciplines?
So I can say like we don't really need to complicate ourselves because I always say like talking about money is not like really you need to have a degree on it and all that because we all started dealing with money maybe at a very young age and all that. So you just need to know like okay, the moment when you're earning money, you need to give direction to your money. That's the first and foremost thing. You need to give direction to your money because if you look at like maybe you are driving and you don't know where you're going and you don't put GPS,
Mm,
what are the chances of you getting lost? The probability is
mm,
high, right? So that's how
yes.
we just need to look at our money like, okay, maybe this money hits my account and I don't have a script to use my money because we are not taught about money anywhere else, right?
Mm,
So
mm,
for me, the first thing is that I need to know where do I want to see my money going? What is the end goal I want to see my money doing for me? But the moment when
mm,
you ask yourself that question, like, okay, what is the end goal I want to see with this money? Do I want maybe to look rich or do I want really to create the wealth? Or do I want to lay foundations and build my resilient future? So that will give you an
mm,
answer of how you are going to direct your money. So most people we know like it's not easy for us to say, okay, now I see the money in my account and I can talk to it. Because the first thing which comes to mind when you receive money is to spend. But before you even
yes.
spend it,
Yes.
yes, you're allowed to spend your
Yeah.
money. But before you even spend it, just take a minute, sit down, and maybe just take a pen and paper and just write. write through things. And now it's even nice that even with most banks, they even have apps where you can actually do your budgeting and all that. Like it can actually track your income, it can track your expenses and all that. Then you can now put you can put your groupings, like say, okay, if this is groceries, this is maybe your payment for bills, this is maybe for your investing, your saving and all that. So just like I always say, like learn to be patient. Like if the
Mm,
money is in your account, it's not gonna go anywhere. It's your money. So it doesn't, like if you can just sit down like for 30 minutes and you just plan around of what you want to see your money doing for you, then at least it can help you to have that better relationship with your money. And you can start from there. Because to be
mm.
honest, we don't have a script of how we have to be using of our money. And most times we just copying what others are doing, and maybe it might not be the right way.
Absolutely. And then, so this, I believe, falls under budgeting. What then are the other basics for saving, investing, as well as debt management?
Oh, yes, yes. So I always say like budgeting is basically the foundation of it because that's where you're directing your money. So the moment when you're directing your money, so with saving, don't overcomplicate or overthink about it. So let's say, okay, I did give an example of the 50-30-20 rule, but maybe you have been like, okay, but maybe me, I'm highly indebted and all that. You can wait on the savings, right? And at least maybe work on clearing your debts. And what I always say, people sometimes we run away from our debtors when we are like highly indebted. There's not, if you run away from your debtors, from all the debts you're owing, they're not going to go anywhere because that's where people end up being blacklisted and all that. So on debt management, if you know you're owing people, list down those debts. Like first the truth, list them down, list with the amounts you are owing and all that, and say, okay, I'm owing this much, and for now I can't really afford to pay them all back. Call them and tell them, you know what, maybe I lost my job, or maybe there's a financial crisis I'm actually going through. Can we really look on my payment terms? And most financial institutions, they're open to that. The moment you open up and you call them and you explain your story, they can say, okay, we can relook at your payment terms, okay, or they can extend your payment period. Then that can actually help you. But if the moment when you just keep quiet, it will just continue increasing, and they might end up handing you over to debt collectors, or you can end up being financially listed. So a good debt management is you need to sit down with your debts, talk to all your creditors and all that. You have a proper financial plan, and when you have a repayment plan, please make sure you stick to it. Don't default again, because that can mess up your credit scoring. Then with your saving, I always say start with what you have. If you're saying, okay, this time I'm actually can't able to be saving maybe 20% or maybe 5%, start with 1%, because you need to build that saving habit. Then with your investing, you need to make your money grow. So once you are done with paying off your debts, please start investing for your future, because that future matters. Because if you don't invest for that future, that's when we perpetuate black tax.
Absolutely. And sorry, I think as you're talking about this, this would then assist as a nation looking at financial literacy to be able to then know that if you're taking out a contract with a financial institution, what are the implications of such? Would it mean that can I afford it? Will I
Mm,
still be able to afford it if things were shifting? As you've mentioned, and following the 50-30-20 is going to offer people assistance within knowing that there is room to be able to negotiate down because people have fear in doing so. When we talk about teens or the young mind,
mm,
what can they do to earn? Um, what can they do to earn? And I think we've already spoken about capital. We've spoken that, for us to have these money conversations and financial literacy is because we want to be empowered to
yes,
to 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 know what is happening around our money life. And all
yes.
of us, we want to be earning. I asked you this question because it is on your website, what to do with money you earn as a teen. Can you please go into detail around that?
So yeah, so there's a chapter which I also write, like how to start earning money without capital for the teenagers. Because I know most parents now these days, because of the technology space we are in, most kids they do have phones even at a younger
Mm,
age.
mm.
So instead of your teen maybe just having a phone and maybe just spend most of their time on Instagram, scrolling through, admiring other filters. Because many people it's filters we post. So there I was teaching them like, okay, there are some things you can actually do with your phone and your data, which can bring you
Mm,
money.
mm,
Like you can start a YouTube channel. If you're good at writing, you can start a blogging site and
mm.
or a TikTok. I know many people they're making money on TikTok, right? So with that one, so once you start earning that money, because earning is the easier part of it, but once you start earning that money, if you are not knowledgeable enough, you can actually waste that money, right? So now that's why I was just now going to these foundations we've been talking about, that you need to budget, you need to save your money, you need to invest your money, and you need to know the difference of good date and bad date. So basically, that's what the basic of the foundations I was talking about. Like, it's good to earn the money, but we must not end there. You need now to be very responsible and be intentional of that money you are earning.
What then about investing? Tell us more. Are there any basics that we should be looking at around this?
Yes, yes. With me, with investing, I love easy equities, guys. I don't work for easy equities, and they don't give me any money. But the reason why I always give an example of easy equities is that with easy equities, guys, even with 50 rand, you can go there and buy shares. Because what Easy Equities does, they made our life a bit easier. Because back then it was a bit difficult to invest because you needed like maybe, let's say maybe, for example, which company can come into my mind? Let's say maybe Saso, their shares, I think now they're going maybe over 1,000 rand. I'm not really sure, but I think they're above 1,000 rand. So even a 1,000 rand to just buy in one share, for most people, it's like that's a lot of money. But on Easy Equities, they simplified it. They say, okay, you can actually buy shares for Saso, and you can actually buy a fraction. If you're 50 rand, we can give you a fraction of that share. Then
Hmm.
you've started your investing journey already. So with me, I always like, you know what, there are platforms like Easy Equities where you can, even with little money, because if you think about it, 50 rand, what do you do with it per month? Most
Mm.
probably we waste it away, airtime or whatever. Then maybe you can just sacrifice and say, okay, let me start my investing journey and all that. So with investing, I always say like it's not a get rich quick scheme. With investing, this is where we'll be like, okay, I'm gonna put my money here and forget it for the next 5 years or 10 years. Then you see the magic happens of when you start earning dividends, start like your money working for you. I don't know if you know Warren Buffett's story. Like he's a billionaire just from investing, buying shares and all that. So there's magic in that, in growing your money.
So this is not a get rich quick money scheme. So investing is the long game. I would just say, that is one of the mindsets to have around investing.
Mm,
I think what we've learned today, thank you so much, Tari, is we've learned about the basics of saving, budgeting, investing, as well as debt management, and then how to view our money, and that we
yes,
need to view our money in a positive light. We need these foundations. Whether you have money or not, you need to know what is happening in your money life. Where do you want to go? Where do you want to be? And also when everything is going right and you've read your terms and conditions and we know where to go when we need financial redress, which is something is wrong, help me fix it.
yes,
And this is for the NFO, the phase ombud, the OPFA, as well. And these areas that you can go to for financial ombuds. There are other ombuds within South Africa. These are the financial ombuds that the Ombud Council oversees. And what I'm liking around Money Smart Week, Tari, is that
mm,
we are marrying these topics around our financial foundations, and we call it
yes,
financial literacy. We are marrying the topics of the journey around financial foundations, knowing how to budget, knowing how to save, how to invest, how to have debt management, good debt, bad debt, and the institutions that can help you achieve your goals, and knowing that you can trust in them if they are indeed a registered organization, and that
yes,
if you're treated unfairly, you get assistance through an ombud.
Yes.
This sounds like a complete journey, Tari, for me. And I'm so grateful for Money Smart Week South Africa that was initiated. It's an annual campaign through the
Yes.
FSCA as well as the National Treasury, which is being executed through these different committees and these different partnerships and participants, which is the Ombud Council. And let's talk money with Tari. Let's talk finances with
Yes.
Tari. Excuse me.
Yes.
Thank you, Tari. It has been such an insightful conversation. I have also learned so much as Lesego, and I hope you as well, the viewer, you have learned so much about the foundations around your money.
Oh, thank you so
Any
much,
last remarks,
Lisego.
Tari?
Yes, yes. Thank you, Lisego. It was a pleasure to collaborate with you this Money Smart Week. Yes, parting ways, I always want to let people be reminded that it's your smart money and you need to lay financial foundations for your resilient future because it matters. So treat your
Mm.
money with intentionality.
Thank you, Tari. Well, we'll see you guys next time, and we'll see you guys next year at Money Smart Week SA.
Yes, bye.
Bye.